my connection too.
Mhm.
It's normal.
Sometimes it happens with Cambly, especially with everyone being home now. It's put a lot more strain on the internet. Everyone is using the internet.
Yes. Well, are you there in Canada, right? Your country.
Yes, I'm in Canada.
All right. Okay. Canada is close to United States, right?
Yes, the border is closed right now.
Yes. If I am right, for example, I have a friend, and my friend visited Canada in Toronto.
In Toronto, yeah.
And yes, and he told me about New York when he took the train. The train.
The train?
I not. Yes, I'm in New York, but because New York, I don't know what is the name, but it's a point to meet, right? To go to Brazil, other place, for example, Brazil or Canada.
The international airport?
Yes, international airport. Yes,
Yeah.
international airport.
No, I've not been to New York. I've been to Toronto once. I've only been to Toronto one time, and I've never been to New York.
All right, you visited New York one time?
No, I have never. I have never been to New York. I have never been to New York.
I have never been to New York.
I have been to Toronto one time.
I have been to Toronto one time. All right, but Toronto, let me remember. Sorry, because, all right, Toronto is a city?
It is a city in Canada, yes. It is the biggest city in Canada. It has about 3 million people.
Wow, maybe Toronto is the most important city in Canada, right?
I don't know if it's the most important, but it's one of the biggest and well-known cities in Canada. I think the three most well-known cities in Canada are Vancouver, Toronto, and
Vancouver. Yes,
Montreal.
Vancouver is very famous.
Yes.
Yes, Montreal.
Yes.
All right, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. Montreal are the famous, right?
Yes.
Canada. All right, but why you don't? It's correct. Why you don't visit? No, didn't visit.
Why you haven't visited? Why you haven't visited New York?
Yes, because it's not so close.
Well, when I used to live in British Columbia, which is on the western side of Canada, I lived about 3 days north from Vancouver. I lived further north of Canada. So New York was very far then. And now I live closer. I live about 7 hours away from New York. But I just have not gone. I haven't wanted to drive in all of that traffic.
All right. Yes, and I think that for me, I am Brazilian, maybe, wow, I wanted to visit New York in my life because it's very different or it's very beautiful. But maybe for you, it's normal, right?
Well, I think it would be fun to visit sometime. But for me too, because I didn't grow up in Quebec. I've only been in Quebec for about 1.5 years now. I've been here 2 years in August. There's still a lot to see here.
Yes, maybe I don't know. Maybe the feeling, for example, I visited Orlando, and after I moved to Orlando, I moved to Miami, and I prefer Orlando because the city is very different than Miami. Miami is more or better. In Miami, look like or looks like.
It looks better.
It's a comparison. Yes, I can say. I mean, look like São Paulo here in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but it's look like or looks like.
If you're talking past tense, you were there in the past. It looked like. If you are you're still living there, you'd say it looks like São Paulo, but you're not living there now.
All right.
So you need past tense.
Yes.
It looked like.
Yes, for example, Miami has a lot of buildings.
Buildings.
Yes, yes, like São Paulo here in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I prefer Orlando. But I want to say prefer in the past. What is the word?
Mm-hmm. That is why I preferred it.
I preferred.
Yes. That is why I preferred
need to use the letter D.
Yes, I preferred it. I preferred it.
Oh, I preferred. Wow, it's hard to pronounce it. I preferred.
I preferred. Preferred. Yes.
I preferred it.
Yes.
Wow, I preferred it. Yes.
You're saying it excellently. Very
All
good.
right. Yes. A question. For example, in Canada, it's dollar too, right? It's dollar.
Canada uses Canadian dollars, so it's the dollar.
Canadian dollar.
It's different than American dollars.
It's different, yes. For example, you can't use Canadian dollar in United States, for example.
No,
it's not possible.
If you want to go to America, you have to change your dollars into American. For example, with the exchange rate right now, $10 Canadian is $7.17 American.
Wow, let me see. Oh, so the American dollar, it's more expensive. Wow. So it's cheaper to visit Canada in my case, right?
For an American or someone with American dollars, it would be cheaper to visit Canada, yes. But of course, when you get your money exchanged, you always lose a little bit at the bank. The bank always keeps some.
Yes, but in Brazil it's very terrible because, for example, $1 is 5 times more expensive in my currency.
Oh no.
Yes, and because the problem with coronavirus was bad here.
It's bad everywhere. Here. There'll be a lot of damage
everywhere.
to the economy.
Yes. I'd be curious. For example, actually, I have some. I don't know if it's correct my phrase, but I don't know if I'm scared, or I have fear, or I have a small fear or little fear to talk with people from Canada, because I think maybe I can't, or better, I can say. Let me see. I can say maybe I can't understand very well, or I could not understand. I could not is the past, right?
Yes, I could not understand if it's in the past. So you're saying in the past you could not understand people from Canada, but now you can?
Yeah. Yes, let me see my friend Google Translate in Portuguese now. Yes, I was right. Maybe I can't understand correctly the people from Canada because I had a problem with a teacher 2 years ago from Canada because the accent. But I don't know. In 2 years ago, my English was worse.
Yes, but the Canadian accent is the same as the American accent in a lot of areas. America has regional accents, so they have a Texas accent, a New York accent, a South accent, different accents like that. But if you go further north in America or to the west, like California or Washington, you will not be able to tell the accent apart from a Canadian.
Yes, I can understand you very well. And I prefer people from native people because, for example, you have the perfect English, right?
Well,
it's very different.
I mean, I grew up
yes.
native speaker.
You have, yes. So, But I'm curious. Yes, I can understand very well. That's very good because
Yes, you're speaking very well.
if I had, thank you. If I had a little fear, now I'm comfortable with you. But I'm curious because if I am right, I remember about, for example, I talked with people from United States, England, and now I'm talking with you, Canada. Water for you is the same?
Water is how I say it. I'll have a glass of water.
Water. Wow. Yes, that's a very, I don't know. It's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Interesting, yes, because one word, different pronunciations. Water, water,
like
in
water,
British
in
accent.
British,
Water, yes, and for you is water.
Yeah. And there's also words like aluminum, which in Britain they say aluminium, or missile, which they would say as missile.
Missile, wow, but it's very different.
And between America and Canada, there's some differences as well. And this difference also exists in America. In some places in America, they will say like crick, rut, and roof instead of creek, root, and roof.
Wow.
But there are Americans who say it the Canadian way as well. They will say creek, root, roof. It's only some places in America that say crick.
Wow.
There? Oh, I can see you again. Your picture was frozen for a little bit.
Yes, okay, no problem. Yes, some problem in our connection. But yes, water, right? Water.
Water.
Water. Yes, all right. Okay, and maybe some problem in our connection. I'm freezing.
You were frozen for a little bit, and now it is normal again. Are you able to see me?
Yes, I can see you, but you are frozen now.
Oh, okay. It seems like the connection is not working well right now.
Maybe. All right.
There's that issue.
But I can hear you very well.
Well, that is the most important part.
Yes, I can hear you very well. How long do you teach here on Cambly?
How long have I taught on Cambly?
Yes.
I've only taught on Cambly for a few months, not very long, but I have taught English for about 2 years.
3 years? And you, for example, you teach people. I can see you now again. Good. It's easier for me because for me it's easier to understand when I am here and see you too in the same time.
It's easier to be able to see the mouth movements.
Yes, it's easier. For example, now I remember when I bought equipment from Canada and I needed to did a call, and it was hard because the people, I don't know what is the name, but I talked with a woman in Canada for call, right? And was hard to understand everything because the woman speak very, very fast. So, all right, but I can, or better, I can in the past. I can do it.
You're saying
you
couldn't understand it well in the past, but now you can understand it.
Yes, but I could. All right, I could. It's not. I could not. Yeah, it's different. I could is in the past, but it's I can, right? It's positive. All right.
Yes, not would be negative. Could is positive.
Yes. you teach for 3 years, and your students, it's 2 years, and your students from other countries?
I have taught students from other countries, yes. I used to work for a Japanese company, so I worked with Japanese students then.
Wow.
And I also worked with a lot of Chinese. I've also worked with a lot of Chinese. Also worked with a lot of Chinese students, and now with Cambly, most of the students are from the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. I have a few from Brazil as well, and a few other countries. Students from a lot of countries.
All right, and tell me, Melody. Melody, it's okay? All right.
Yes.
Okay, and tell me, Melody, do you have a plan? Because let me tell you, I have a problem, and my problem is big because I don't have a plan. Or plan.
So you don't know what you're going to do in the future?
Yes, for example, for me, it's not enough. When I started here on Cambly, I thought, all right, I learned good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And I will use on Cambly. All right, I can. But now, 2 years, 3 years that are almost 3 years I'm studying. I need to grow. I need to grow.
Improve your English.
Improve my English, yes. Improve my vocabulary, improve my grammar, improve my pronunciation. So, but I don't have a plan to study. And do you have
want
a plan
to study a course? Well, Cambly offers courses that you can subscribe to within the platform. So I'd recommend looking at some of those. They have courses for specific areas you'd like to work on.
All right. For example, I wanted to practice about business.
They have business courses. So I'd recommend looking into that. I think that would be very helpful for your situation.
All right. For example, I'm reading some things here on Cambly, some lessons, and you think that is a good idea. For example, you are the woman and I am them. For example, sometimes I see some names, and you read the first phrase. I read the second phrase. Yes,
that's a dialogue. A dialogue.
Dialogue. Yes, it's a dialogue. All right. Yes, I am thinking to. In last week, I was reading about 2 things. First, what is the name? Some word links, yes, word links or linking words.
Linking words.
Linking words, and for me that's very important because, for example, I use it a lot of linking words in Portuguese. It's very important to explain the things for other people. But unfortunately, I can't. I don't have enough linking words in my vocabulary in English.
Cambly offers courses on many different topics, many different grammar areas and vocabulary lessons. So I think something like that would be the best option for you.
All right, okay.
That would be more helpful than just having conversation lessons with tutors. You'd be able to cover specific topics that you need to work on.
Yes, I have a dictionary here from Cambridge Dictionary, and I have 5 pages. The first, I was thinking about linking words, and the second about phrasal verbs. And phrasal verbs is another hard thing to study, right?
Well, those, it comes with experience. They're just expressions and idioms. You have to hear them and use them and memorize them.
Yes. In your opinion, I need to, I don't know, but tell me what your opinion about that. I need to study all phrasal verbs and memorize. This is the way?
Yes, just studying phrasal verbs and using them in sentences. You can read them, make example sentences with your tutors. I think that would be helpful. If there's Other areas of grammar that you're not as confident in, like linking words and things like that, I would almost advise you to work on those first. But it is good to familiarize yourself with phrasal verbs.
And do you use a lot of phrasal verbs per day?
That's a very hard question to answer.
Yes.
I think native speakers probably do use them quite often. It's not something we really think about though, because when you're speaking fluently, you're not thinking about what words you're using. You can use an expression and not think about it. So I have no idea how many I use a day. I couldn't tell you that.
All right. Okay. You never think about that.
I'm sure in Portuguese there are many expressions that you have too, right?
Yes, we have. Yes. All right. Okay. Phrasal verbs is like expressions from the language, from English, for example.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So
no.
do you know how many times you use expressions in your language every day? It's probably not something you keep track of.
Yes. I think yes, maybe not. I was thinking about that. For example, yes, I have in my Portuguese, or better, all Brazilian people has a lot of expressions, different expressions that if you will study about this expression, you will say, oh, but does it don't make sense that? Because
that doesn't make sense.
Yes. So, and to learn expressions, Brazilian expressions, you need to learn about the meaning. When I need to, I can use this expression. All right, phrasal verbs it's the same. It's the same.
Yes. Well, idioms, expressions like that are called idioms. Just one moment. Idioms or expressions, and phrasal verbs are basically the same thing, but they're a little bit shorter. It's things like fill out or come up, shorter expressions like that are used quite commonly in English. So it is something that is important to practice. Yes.
So your question was good when you asked me about if I use expressions. Sorry, I forgot. Expressions. Yes, in my language, because I was thinking about that. Maybe not, because sometimes I use. All right, but some teacher told me, Marcelo, the American people speak. It's not correct speak, but say, right? Says phrasal verbs. A lot of phrasal verbs all the time.
Oh, all right. It's something that's a very, very common.
I stay worried. Yes, I stay worried. Oh my God, all the time. So if I will talk with someone in 3 phrases, for example, I will listen a lot of phrasal verbs. For me, it's terrible because
I've already used phrasal verbs in this conversation. For example, when I said it can be hard to keep track of, that's a phrasal verb, keep track of.
That's why I can't understand. Yes. So, all right. It's very common, but it's not necessary to use the phrasal verbs to communicate, right?
Yes.
It's like Portuguese. All right, but
you can communicate without them, but often. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, some problem or connection. Yes, I can hear very well too. Okay, again.
Okay. All right. So, what were you saying?
Yes, I was thinking here. For example, if I am here in my home, all right, I can use a lot of expressions in Portuguese with my family, for example. But if I will talk with my director, or if I will talk with a important customer, or if I will talk with the president of in my country or other country, it's not common to use expressions or Brazilian expressions because it's not, maybe it's not polite because maybe it's not the correct word, but yes, it's not formal. Yes, it's formal. And my question for you now is, it's common to use phrasal verbs with the president or someone important.
It depends on the phrasal verb. There are expressions that would be more formal that you wouldn't use. And then there are things like fill out or keep track of that would be common to use in a more official document. So some would be used in more official context, and some you would not see.
Depends of the phrasal verb.
Yes, it depends.
All right,
on it,
because
yes.
I was thinking about, I remember about, maybe it's a phrasal verbs, catch up, right? Catch
Could
up?
you repeat the word, please?
Yes.
Ketchup? Ketchup is a type of food. Oh, you mean
Catch up.
Catch. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's a phrasal verb.
I was thinking of ketchup with a K. So ketchup is a food, and ketchup is a phrasal
yes.
verb.
All right, yes, ketchup, yes. Ketchup is a red sauce, right?
Sorry, I was not thinking of the first
but
one.
The ketchup is like catch, right? I will catch up her. Yes?
I will catch up to her. I will catch up with her.
Yes, can I use yes. I will catch up with her. Yes. All right.
Yes, so you can say a sentence like
yes. But the pronunciation is like the sauce, red sauce, right? To with the hamburger.
Well, I think there's a slight difference. The reason I thought you said ketchup, the sauce, the first time is because you said it as one word. Ketchup. Usually there'd be just a hair of a pause, just a very small pause. Catch up. I will catch up with
All
her.
right. So finally, if someone use a lot of phrasal verbs, maybe with the president or someone important people, maybe this person will use less phrasal verbs, right?
Yes, there's probably less phrasal verbs in more formal situations like that.
Yes. All right. Yes.
But again, there are some phrasal verbs that would be even more common to see in a formal situation. It really depends.
All right.
Depends on the
But in your opinion, what is the more important to learn, vocabulary or to learn phrasal verbs?
Wow, they are almost one and the same because phrasal verbs does include vocabulary. I would. It's hard for me to accurately judge from a short conversation like this. I would say if you're able to understand most vocabulary words you come across, focus on your phrasal verbs. If you're still struggling with vocabulary, then focus on that for now, and then do phrasal verbs after.
All right.
It would probably be a good idea to work on both. You can put an emphasis on one, focus on one more, but work on both.
How much time we have yet? Seconds?
We have 12 seconds left. We are almost.
Can I schedule with you again?
Yes.
All right, Melody.
All right.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you too. See you soon. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.